Hey everybody, it's Professor Hanlon here at SUNY Fredonia in room 1024 where we keep all of our school instruments. And I have down here on the floor one of our lovely new Shen 80 basses from Student String Services in Fairport, New York. Thanks guys, these basses are awesome. Really glad to have them here. We use these predominantly for our secondary classes, but for some other purposes as well. I want to take the time today to talk to you about making sure that you have a good sense for how to set the bass up in terms of getting the Endpin out and secure, and also to the right height. So some suggestions along those lines. I think I can flip my camera around here. Maybe not. All right, well, that's okay. We're going to try to make it work otherwise. Try to see if this is going to work without too much editing, but it's going to be all right. So I'm just looking at this now. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so here we are. We're looking at our Endpin rig, and this, of course, is our set screw, the Endpin collar, the Endpin itself. This is the rubber stopper. This thread's on. Just a side note here, sometimes this can make a lot of noise, so you can just double check, make sure that's in all the way. Anyway, back to the main point here, though. We are going to look at how to secure, to start, the Endpin inside the collar. So you can see here, there's these little notches, right? And those notches, of course, should be perfectly aligned with the set screw so that it can fall in there and keep the Endpin from collapsing and scaring a student and or damaging the instrument. So let's just talk about how we're going to do that. So suppose I wanted to get on this second notch right here, okay? What I like to do is just reveal that notch just outside the collar. I put just a little bit of tension on that set screw, and then you can, sometimes you have to twist a little bit, but just work the Endpin in. Now listen carefully. There. When the notch sort of finds that spot where the set screw is, it'll jump and the Endpin will go in and it'll sort of seat itself in there. Then you can just kind of center it up, turn that set screw, and you're going to be in really, really good shape. Okay? Hoping that made it on the video. Okay, good. So now we're just going to take a few more minutes here to talk about how to set the height of the bass. So this is not an exact science, in my opinion. I think it really, really depends on the student and on the body type, and actually a lot on the length of the arm. So if I'm looking at this bass right now, for me this would be a little bit low. The easiest thing I think just to get started is to think about the nut of the bass right here being more or less at your eyebrow level. So that's going to want to be right about here for me. So I'm going to take 2 seconds and just bring this Endpin out a little bit. We can see that that's a little bit better. Looks comfortable. So, just grab my bow here. One of the other things that I think actually matters more than this whole eyebrow trick is making sure that the bow and the arm can the bow arm can extend down, and the bow will meet the bass at sort of an appropriate place without either overreaching or having to over retract like this. This can create some really problematic habits in a student. So I think it's really important to be finding the spot where the arm can sort of hang in a relaxed way. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. Music stand makes a great tripod here, okay? Yeah, so we're going to be looking for something about like that, where when the arm is sort of hanging relaxed, not jammed out like this, not retracted, overly retracted, but it's sort of in a relaxed way, maybe with a gentle bend in the elbow. When we put the bow on the string, I like to imagine that naturally enough, it will sort of land right underneath where the fingerboard ends, okay? Right in that spot there, all right? And that tends to be just a good sort of default place for playing the bass in the lower positions, all right? So, main thing, to get started, check with the eyebrow, okay? And then, if that's not gonna work, or if for some reason the student has I have a pretty long arm, so for me the bass actually has to be a little bit lower. If they have a short arm, of course, the opposite. That tends to just be the best way to get started. Regarding the left hand, to also keep the left hand from having to reach way up here like this, that's really not typically good. It doesn't allow for good blood flow and things like that into the hand that we need for health, okay? So I hope that's helpful to you. You can find my email on the Fredonia website. If you have any questions, please send me a note, okay? Take care, thanks.